Most people think hitting $500,000 makes life easier. For a lot of investors, that's when friction begins. Not because they failed, not because they made bad decisions, but because the system quietly reclassifies them. And that reclassification can cost you years. Today, I'll show you why banks become more cautious at this level, why this stage feels harder than having less money, and what actually changes when you finally cross into the next tier. Because the problem isn't your growth, it's timing. Most people believe wealth works like a game. More money, easier levels, better treatment, more flexibility. And at the very bottom, that's true. At the very top, also true. But in the middle, roughly $300,000 to $2 million in net worth, the rules change. And almost no one explains why. This is the hidden wealth zone. And statistically, it's where upward momentum slows down. Not because ambition disappears, but because structure lags behind success. Later, I'll explain why crossing into the next tier suddenly flips the script. But first, you need to understand how banks actually think, because it's not how you think. Internally, institutions care about three things: stability, transparency, duration. Net worth alone signals none of them. Let me explain. If you have $50,000, low opportunity, low exposure, low complexity. If you have $20 million, high opportunity, but also high predictability, long track record, professional advisors, structured entities. But at $500,000, moderate opportunity, rising exposure, increasing complexity, and very little institutional history. From their perspective, you are no longer invisible, but you are not yet predictable. And predictability matters more than balance size. Compare two individuals. Person A, $50,000 in net worth. Person B, $500,000 in net worth. 10 times the assets, but not 10 times the risk. Because leverage scales faster than balances. Credit limits increase. Investment complexity increases. Tax exposure increases. Transfer sizes increase. Risk doesn't grow linearly. It compounds. And institutions are built to fear compounding risk. That's the first shift most investors miss. Your wealth compounds instantly. Institutional trust compounds slowly. That delay creates friction. Consider someone I'll call Daniel. Steady income growth. Disciplined investing. No gambling behavior. He crosses $600,000 in net worth. Feels solid. He requests a credit line adjustment. Instead of approval, he gets updated documentation requests, liquidity breakdown questions, income verification, compliance review. A wire transfer gets flagged. A 3-week delay. Additional clarification emails. Nothing catastrophic, but everything is slower. And here's what hits emotionally. When I had less money, this was easier. He's right. Because earlier, he wasn't categorized as transitional. Now he is. Early wealth is about survival. Progress feels exciting. Every milestone feels validating. But the middle stage? It's about preservation. More to protect. More scrutiny. More paperwork. More oversight. When ease doesn't arrive on schedule, the brain interprets it as failure, even when growth is real. This is pure behavioral finance. Expectation gap creates emotional drag, not financial weakness. Think about airport security. Regular travelers wait in line. VIP members get priority lanes. But people who almost qualify? they get extra screening. Same destination, more attention. Not punishment, protocol. The hidden wealth zone works the same way. Now here's the part most people never see. At some point, usually above a certain asset threshold combined with time, something changes. Friction drops. Approvals accelerate. Communication shifts. Why? Because your profile stops looking transitional and starts looking stable. The upgrade doesn't happen when your balance grows. It happens when systems decide you are predictable. Predictability comes from consistency of income, consistency of asset growth, time in the system, structured behavior patterns. Wealth size gets attention. Consistency gets trust. Trust reduces friction. And friction, not wealth, is what most people are actually trying to escape. Here's where many investors quietly stall. They interpret friction as rejection. So they change banks too often, restructure aggressively, increase complexity prematurely, chase faster growth to prove themselves. But instability resets predictability, which resets trust, which increases friction again. That loop can cost years. Smart investors understand something subtle. Your job isn't just to grow, it's to look stable while growing. Growth attracts attention. Stability earns trust. When those two align, momentum becomes smoother. That's the inflection point. And that's why the next tier feels easier. Not because you're richer, but because you're categorized differently. The middle net worth level feels harder because you're no longer invisible and not yet essential. That space is uncomfortable, but it's temporary. The bank didn't get colder, the spotlight just got brighter. And once you understand that, friction stops feeling personal. It becomes structural, and structure can be navigated calmly. If this explains something you've been quietly experiencing, like the video, it helps more than you think. And if you want deeper psychology breakdowns of how money actually works behind the scenes, subscribe. Because money isn't just math, it's categorization, it's perception, it's time. And when those align, everything gets lighter.